Hey everyone, and welcome into our 2025 Protractor Wrapped session. Darren and I have done a number of these over the years. You've also seen our sneaks and release videos that we release quarterly throughout the year. So what we wanted to do is put together this relatively brief video to go over the different product enhancements, partners, integrations, all the big things that happened within Protractor product development in 2025. And with that, we wanted to start out by just sharing a few of our stats. And Darren, if you could give a quick flyover of some of the specific metrics from the product development team, we can start there.
Sure, yeah, no shortage of action this year. Every year we try to do an average of one release per month. Sometimes it goes a little bit longer. Sometimes you do a couple per month. This year, counting the release we're going to have in December, we're up to actually 14 releases for Protractor in 2025. That includes about 65 either brand new features or features that have been updated in some meaningful fashion. Combined with about 60 different bug fixes over the year as well, or issues that were fixed or improved somehow, which basically means we have a 1-to-1 ratio of feature iteration and improvement, along with actually, making sure the program is working up to the spec that it should. So really trying to focus on that balance, and also try to spread that across not just the core platform, but the mobile improvements, payments integrations, everything to go along with it, give you a good experience.
Excellent. Yeah, no shortage of work. We've definitely gone from, if you look even 2, 3 years ago, from more of a heavy maintenance infrastructure, type perspective and focus to getting right back to development. There's even more that's certainly going to be going on over the next several quarters and into 2026. But before we get into that, I think it'd be important for us to do a quick flyover. There's a lot of specific items that you've worked on with the team over the last 4 quarters. So we're not going to drain the slide and go through every single one of these. But I think, Darren, maybe pick out a few of your favorites that you can just add commentary on.
Sure. A few of the things that were really kind of bigger projects for the team that stood out. First would be the work in promotions at the beginning of the year, and then recently into Q4 with promotions 2.0. Discounting in Protractor has always been available, but it's been relatively tedious, manual, line by line to get a true work order level discount. So being able to do a promotion where you push one button and discount a package or a work order, and even have variables based off of which packages exist or which suppliers are in the mix, has been a huge achievement for us. The ability to be able to text a work order either as a PDF or with a new mobile authorization is something that's really stood out as well. Those are kind of quality of life things that people typically had to go to a third party, DVI or CRM to rely on in the past. So being able to bring that in directly to Protractor, and also being able to, in the mobile authorization, include your Protractor AutoServe 1 DVI link has been huge for us. Besides that, something I'm always proud of is being able to sprinkle in the kind of quality of life improvements throughout, even like the tire DOTs, being able to print them on the work order, the electronic inventory stock orders. We did the parts tech earlier this year, and some work order quality life that I'll show here at the end.
Excellent. Thanks for taking us through that, Darren. And maybe what we can do just to kind of send everyone into the holiday is do a quick show and tell of some of those 2026 options that you had mentioned, and then just thematically anything else that you'd want to mention for development focus going into the new year.
Yeah, so we're gonna kick 2026 off with a bang. Like I said, we got one more release coming in December. Depending when you watch this, it may already be out for you. We'll have a few cool things go out this month. Like I said, one of those good quality of life things that a lot of people have been looking for a long time. But 2026, we're going to kick off with a completely new view for a work order and possibly get into some AI things in Protractor. So I'll show you what I can here. Give me, sir. We're going to have some time clock changes. You'll notice here on the time clock button, we've got a green exclamation point. This is to let everybody in the shop know that at least one person is clocked in. Along with that, we'll have some other changes like the ability to use can notes when you go to clock out individually or for the shop level. In the time clock records, we'll also default to today and add the yesterday date field just to make it a little bit easier when you're looking at your time clock records, and even allow people to change the default clock out time. Just little things to make everybody's life a little bit easier instead of clocking everybody out at 11:59 that we've been doing forever. Something else happening in the December release. If you notice here, I'm going to press the new work order button. And instead of going into the new work order wizard, you can see here that I'm going right into my contact search. And of course, I got a duplicate. But I'm going to go straight to a work order using one of my work order templates. So in the past, if you want to use a work order template, you always have to rely on the dropdown. So for shops that don't want to use the work order wizard, we're actually adding in the option now where you can designate one of your work order templates to be your new work order default and save you 2 clicks every time you want to start a new work order. Jumping into the work orders itself, this should come out in January, but definitely very soon in Q1. You're going to see a new button on the work order here called Combine View. Keep in mind, this is a little bit subject to change. We're going to keep making some improvements and changes between now and release. But essentially, the story here is that Protractor's always had a lot of really powerful features, from the add services button, deferred work, reminders, intervals, history, inspection, Carfax. There's just so many different features on a work order that an advisor can choose to use to build a work order properly, but they're all individual functions. You got to click them each individually, sort of remember what each button had, and put all together on your final work order to present to the customer. So to make that a little bit easier and to get more shops adopting all of those features, we're introducing the Combine View. So the Combine View is going to take those 7 or 8 major features I mentioned and put them all into one combined view here. I'll make it a little bit bigger here. First tab is going to show the current work order, very similar to what you already see. We'll give you a close ratio at the top, but you're also going to have today's deferred work and your work order in one view without going to a new tab. You'll be able to access your add services menu, your historical deferred work, your inspection, your reminder items, your OEM intervals, and your shop history, all from right here. You'll also notice that you have these KPI cards at the top. So especially for anybody new to Protractor, or maybe somebody trying to adopt a new feature like reminder items or inspections, or even just remembering that there's deferred work that exists for the customer from previous visits, these KPI cards at the top are going to call some of those numbers out to you and kind of make you remember that there's something to go into there instead of relying on remembering to press the button each time. Something that'll come a little bit later too is going to be Protractor's first foray into true AI as well. So this is going to be named to be determined, but essentially what this is going to do is look at your history, your Carfax history if you exist, or if the Carfax history exists for the vehicle, and also compare it to both the OEM intervals and reminder items if you're using them. And it's going to kind of correlate those 4 data points together and help the advisor make a recommendation based off those points. So we'll give the AI a second here to analyze this particular vehicle. And you can see here, very similar to our reminders, it's going to cross-reference my history and sources like Epicor for the OEM intervals. We can see if something's been done or not. And if it's past due or coming due soon, we'll be able to add to a work order right from here. So more to come on this. Lots more information on this specifically, but definitely excited for both the combined view and the AI to come very soon after it, and lots more in 2026 to follow.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Darren, for going over that. Those are 2 relatively large boulders to move, as you can imagine, thematically. Those are big things that are being discussed in the market, and we're tackling them head on. So more communication, more information, more show and tell as we go through the next several weeks to months. We'll try to be as communicative as possible within that process to get our beta testers, pilot testers, and you'll be able to see a lot more through some of the conferences and events that we host throughout Q1 and Q2. So thanks everybody so much for your participation, for your engagement, for your patience. Thanks Darren and team specifically for all of their work around Protractor and associated integrations and partners and product development throughout the year. And we'll be back in January with some more updates on the product management side of things. Thanks everybody and have a great holiday season.